Pickle, 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 pickle.
I'm just going to let you do intros, and I'm going to hold my hands up in the air, but I have to say words so the camera gets on me going like this.
There we go. All right, here we go. That was a Grandma's Boy reference for those in the audience. If you haven't seen that movie, there's no hidden meaning there. All right, topic number one: MLB playoffs. How we like
playoffs?
How we liking the expanded format?
I don't know. I'm off it. I think it. I've asked a couple of people this, and I'm just biased because I was in the MLB playoffs. I think it's weird to. I asked you this. I think does having 8 teams in the playoffs make it less? Should you get less satisfaction if you get knocked out in the first round?
So first of all, coming to you live from Petco Park here in San Diego, first-hand action. You know, I'm here watching the games live, checking things out. I think it's weird that teams aren't. There's like no home crowd, no home field advantage. I think that's just kind of weird. In some regards, I think winning this year could be more difficult because you have to go through more rounds. Everybody's playing under the same rules, so it's kind of weird. I think more teams getting in, it just changes things a little bit. But the Astros are the 6th seed. All the other seeds are the 1, 2 in the National League, and then the Astros are the 6th seed. So pretty sure that means the Astros would have gotten in to the old wild. Would they have gotten in with the old wild card format or no?
No. 4 and 5.
4 and 5 play. All right, so this could be first time ever a 6th seed actually wins the World Series. It also gets into the playoffs as a 6th seed.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Astros, I surprisingly was not expecting this. Really enjoyed their embracement of being the villain and the heel, especially Carlos Correa, who's a stud. I mean, he's unbelievable, but he's just leaning in hard, and I didn't expect to like it, but I like it.
First of all, you could make a strong argument for the fact that knowing that you only had to come in the top 8 with no divisional implications and things like that kind of allowed you to coast in the regular season. We're going to shout out Billy Garcia here for his hot take back in the spring when he told me that he sent me like a text or put out a Facebook message. And I want everybody in the world to call him out for saying, hot take, Astros aren't making the playoffs. And then with like 3 days left in the regular season, he was like, dude, hot take, Astros aren't making the playoffs. And I looked at the standings. I was like, no, they're getting in. And he was like, oh, my bad. And now I texted him the other night and I was like, hey, remember that time the Astros didn't get into the playoffs? But anyway, so I thought that was funny. But point of the story is, I think it's great that they're really finding something to kind of like collectively as a team surround themselves, like surround this kind of, villain, whatever you want to call it. Because the beauty of it for them is that this year they got to kind of skate by in the sense that they didn't have to deal with visiting crowds, shorter season, like other things happened. So I think it would have been significantly more challenging had it been a regular 162 game season on the road. And I would have liked to have seen what that turned into, but obviously there's still stuff on the internet and stuff that they're going to read at night. So kudos to them.
Yeah. I mean, they're a good team. They're playoff tested. They've been there before. Things like that can bring a team together. Who were we talking to the other day? Somebody was Jeff Kent was here. He was saying how Dusty Baker was one of the best managers he ever played for, how he was so good at communicating, him being in that role, dealing with adversity, bridging the gaps between different players. It's crazy how stuff like that can bring a group together, dealing with adversity together. Brosseau, is that how you pronounce his name? Brosseau from the Rays. Epic homer. Sorry, Mike, from Hit Tracks. We did a Hit Track. We were doing a live with Hit Tracks on Instagram. This was epic. From a guy who Chapman headhunted against to come back from 0-2. There was a questionable 0-2 pitch. Was it a splitty, I think? I saw a pretty lengthy blog explaining that the pitch was a ball, not a strike. Yankees fans, relax. But just an absolutely epic at bat.
First of all, it was a ball according to some arbitrary definition of the fact that everybody thinks that the strike zone is a defined area of whateverness over home plate, period. But yes, karma is a real mother. You don't buzz a guy. Like, I'm just guessing, right? Because I've had my comparison moment would be like going back to Minnesota for the first time, my first game against an old team in the big leagues, and not even close because of the implications of being in the playoffs in Game 5 and stuff like that. But I'll never forget 4-4 game in the ninth inning, 2 outs, and this is a homer story. I'm doing it. I'm gonna chalk this one up. But like the reality of it is, I felt so. As athletes, everybody kind of has these moments where they just center, right? It's a different focus. Like, I'm sure you've been there. Like, anybody that's ever played a game where it's just weird, it's eerie, like, you're going to get it done. And I think all the build up to that moment, and part of the reason why I wouldn't have had Chapman in the game, one of the reasons why I wouldn't have had Chapman in the game, was exactly that, to face that hitter. Because when he burned the slider foul, it was over. Like, when he started fouling off heaters and then he burned the slider 400 feet foul, I was like, it's over, dude. Like, he's getting him. Like, no matter what he throws, you got nothing left. There's nothing left in the kitchen that he can, get him out with. I mean, he would have been better off walking him, in my opinion. Because honestly, as much as that's like not the most intimidating dude in their lineup, not that there are, like, Randy Arroza real deal is intimidating. Did you see how I did that there? Arroza real deal.
Rosa's a real one. He's got some
Arroza real deal. But anyway, I would have never let that be the guy. If I were Chapman, I would have been like, nah, move on. We'll go to the next one. But that's neither here nor there. I wouldn't have had Chapman in the game, so on and so forth. The Yankees didn't do the things that they needed to do to win. Garrett Cole excluded from that because he really bared down the first inning. Slide step, 3-2 slide step, first inning, bases loaded, 2 outs.
Did you catch the the Brosseau kid had a bunch of really good interviews post game. There was one that I really liked because there was he toe tapped that on the homer pitch.
Yeah,
it was such a good example of having just natural adjustable moves. He didn't do it on purpose. He just loaded so early that he was like, "Oh, I'm early. Tap it down and go." Just a natural athletic reaction. Just really cool to see because those types of things will happen on the fly. And he was, I mean, you're in a playoff game against one of the best closers in baseball, and he's making these on-the-fly adjustments about being early, not about toe tapping, but about being early. And the toe tap was a result of that. I think it's a great lesson for players to be locked in, to be, always be making adjustments and not sticking to something just because it's what you do. It's just like, no, I'm late. I got to go early. This guy throws hard. I'm gonna go early.
Always be adjusting. ABA, not ABC. Always be closing. ABA, always be adjusting. And you know what? He even talked about the staying on top and the feeling of hitting against a guy throwing 100. So that whole game would be a really good example to me of you're facing high-level dudes, like nitty-gritty, like they're coming at you with their best. There was probably not a fastball thrown in that game that was less than 96 miles an hour, if I had to guess. And very few adjustments were made, I think, generally speaking. Like, there were 5 hits in the game. Now, granted, you're facing some really good pitchers, right? But the point is, like, how do you change for those at-bats? How do you make yourself more competitive in those at-bats? And there were a whole lot of, NCABs, non-competitive at-bats. You get that? You get that acronym? I came up with that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that the average fastball velocity was, I think, 97.2 miles an hour in that game.
Is that good?
Just fuel. A lot of velo coming. Let's move on. Other key moments of the divisional series. We got Bellinger robbing Tatis, and then also hitting a homer. Pretty big moment. Pretty cool to hit a homer in a game and take one away in the same game. That's a pretty cool combo. What's like the basketball equivalent of that, or like what in football? So like throwing a touchdown or receiving a touchdown?
You'd have to do both, yeah. You'd probably have to throw one, catch one.
I can't think of another sport that's really got the same, because the offense defense stuff is different for each sport.
Yeah, I mean, football throwing one and catching one would be the same. Taysom Hill, any receiver that could chuck it a little bit. Yeah, I would say it happens probably with the same frequency. Guy like Julian Edelman catching a touchdown pass and then throwing one in the same game.
Some other big moments: Gio Urshela, big homer. Acuna hit a just massive homer. Mookie doing Mookie things, and then last just Correa being Correa, just putting the team on the back.
I put the team on the back.
So who do you have in? So we've got Atlanta Dodgers, the Rays, and the Astros played last night. So we know the Rays are up 1-0. Who do you think? Who do you got going on? Who do you got advancing? Any gut feelings on players with big moments?
All right, so I'm going to stick to my guns. On our last show, I had the only prediction I came at with conviction was I got the Dodgers winning. I said the winner of the Dodgers-Padres series is going to win the World Series, so I'm sticking to my guns there. So the Dodgers are going to beat the Braves. As much as I like the Braves, and Brian Snitker's manager, got to hang with Snit in Italy last year at convention, great, I'm happy for them. I just want a cool series, and honestly, in the American League, I think a rematch of Dodgers Astros would be cool at this point. I was completely wrong about the American League. I thought Yankees A's, or I would have liked to have seen Yankees A's, but yeah, I don't know. By the way, I didn't even know they played game 1 last night. Is that a fact? Is that real?
Yeah, they played. I didn't even know they were playing, and I got on Twitter and I noticed people commenting, so I checked.
Yeah, I see. That goes to show. I think that goes to show you what the implication of no offense to the Tampa Bay Rays, but what the implication of them winning that game instead of the Yankees, in that national recognition that it would have gotten. I could have sworn yesterday was a football basketball day, but
yeah, I thought that the series started Monday for both, but that's all
right.
They
did that. They did that last week. They did that last week because they wanted to avoid Sunday.
I did love that all the games were played back to back. That's a bubble thing where typically there's a travel day. Had a March Madness feel to it, I thought, which I liked. Games all day, just baseball all the time. I think at one point 3 or 4 games were on simultaneously. That's fun. Just bounce around, a lot of action. Dodgers are going to be tough to beat. It's just
anything can happen. It's baseball, man.
I think Dodgers Astros is a more dramatic series. The Rays being in the World Series is just kind of they're the Rays. They're kind of
although G-Man Choi came with it the other night with the trash can and the Jay-Z song. G-Man's just building up, big time credentials in my book. That's building a brand right there. Guy's kicking a trash can, smoking a cigar. Good for you, G-Man.
Yeah, I don't really have any gut feelings. I don't honestly haven't watched any of these teams enough this year to know the personalities and like this. I'd love to see Acuna go off. The Dodgers are just deep, man. Their whole lineup is a tough out. It's just one after another. They grind. They don't chase. They hit balls hard, consistently.
By the way, you know how we were talking about the funny thing about the Sean Murphy, the thing coming up about him being one of the best young hitting catchers and best hitting catchers in baseball? No, Will Smith is one of the best hitters hitting. Will Smith is one of the best hitting catchers in baseball, if not the best. And by the way, Keith and I were talking about him the other day. Keith Beauregard, coach in the Dodgers organization, and Will was hitting 100 in the postseason, and then he just casually rolled out a 5 for 6 NBD. That dude bangs. That dude smashes.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. So we'll see. I think it's going to be Dodgers, Rays. Go from there.
What you think doesn't matter.
Yeah, whoever scores.
I just hope you're wrong so we can make fun of you. I think making predictions is it's I hate it. I don't like being wrong. So I don't like saying things that are going to lead to me being wrong. What's wrong with that? Is that a problem? I'm different than 99% of the world. Sorry.
We have one more topic that producer Patrick will hate us if we don't touch on. Homers deciding games. In I think it's 18-1. I saw a tweet this morning. In 18 out of the 19 games in the playoffs, the team with the most homers wins. Will that trend continue? I also saw that there's been 0 bunts in the playoffs. And will there be how many bunts in the postseason?
You're getting into the nitty gritty here. You're getting to the nitty gritty time. So I think now if it's necessary, they'll do it. But it's just hard to change your identity as a team, right? Like, it's hard to be one thing and then do something else. Like, uh, do I think there's a place for bunting in the game? Yes. Do I think we still need to be able to manufacture runs? Yes. Like, as you can see, when you face frontline guys in game 5, it turns into a 5-hit game. So, like, there were some walks, there were some guys on base, there were some errors in that game, but couldn't push one across because you couldn't move guys over. So the opportunity to get those runs in has to be a part of what you're doing, because like swing and miss is too prevalent. So like we have to figure out how to combine both, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be wild if there were 0 bunts in the entire postseason. I think that would be just a crazy thing. I get it in today's game. I think so. Let's go tie game. Are they doing tiebreaker with runner on second in the playoffs? No. Okay. I was gonna say if it's a bottom of the 10th, you score, win the run. Do you bunt? I would say yes, but
you score to win the run. Did you say you score to win the run?
Probably. Yeah.
Patrick, did he say you score to win the run?
Yeah, I did. Don't worry about my
Bobby's English. Hey, no, your English has been like incredibly poor today.
Just today.
You're talking about videos and being emails and emails being videos.
Didn't get a lot of sleep.
You're getting Columbus Day weekended. You're getting Columbus Day weekended. Yeah, I like it.
Last topic. We had a happy day yesterday and we had a sad day yesterday. Alex Smith returned from a double leg fracture, and Dak Prescott's ankle gun broke.
Yeah.
I was out to dinner. It was actually the first time being out to dinner. We have family in town, and we're at a little Tex-Mex place. I'm eating a nacho, and I froze. And I was like, oh my God, that's really bad. That compound fracture. When the thing that was crazy about the injury was Dak was just chill. Was he just in pure shock when it happened? Because he's like
grabbing his calf.
He's like pointing down at his foot. The defender that tackled him was like, "Oh, get somebody over here!"
Yeah.
That was bad. I hate seeing people get injured. It reminded me of that the NCAA tournament, the Louisville kid who was like right by the bench, and the floor was like raised up, so it was at eye level for all the players. Gordon Hayward. I mean, it's when legs break, man. It's so gruesome.
You know what I like to say there? That ain't it. Poor guy. I mean, look, tons of implications there, obviously, for him personally. But, you know, the good thing is he's young and I think very much capable of bouncing back. Not to flip it to the other side, but obviously seeing what Alex Smith did like that's as incredible of a story to me it's ever happened. If anybody watched that, I think 30 for 30 or E60 or whatever it was, it's incredible, man. Like the infections, like he almost lost his leg like probably 6 times. Like they almost had to cut the whole thing off because they couldn't stop the infection from spreading. And to see the fact that he played in an NFL game, and then even Aaron Donald made a comment after about like, and if Aaron Donald's saying your leg's strong, like you're back, like that's awesome. I mean, incredible, like willpower, desire, and I you know, as much as you feel bad in the moment that it happens for the player and guys that have gone through injuries or other like stuff like that that have kind of put a damper on their career, you know, at some point you're just gonna come back stronger because of it. I think Dak was putting together a great year, obviously, but it's too bad, man. It's part of the game.
One thing that always surprises me when people get injured. So you got like Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, how quickly the game moves on. It's like next man in, let's go, keep it rolling. It's always tough dealing with injuries. I had a stress fracture in my back in college. I broke my thumb and had to have surgery in college. Being on the outside of it's pretty tough. A lot of your identity is usually tied up in being that player. So, you know, it's important to check in on teammates if they're getting hurt. If you're that guy, try to remain a part of the team. Don't just disconnect. You know, a situation like Dak's where pretty sure he had surgery last night for the repair. You know, you're just on the road to recovery. Just keep working hard and see what happens. But you know, it's tough for him considering his off season with contract stuff and was under the franchise tag for the year, trying to get the big deal next year. And it's crazy. It's crazy in the professional world what can happen, you know, in one play.
He'll come back stronger for it, man. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. Post show. There's been a request for you to defend Tom Brady not knowing what down it was on the final drive of the Monday Night Football. He just threw a pass.
No, it's Thursday Night Football, Bob.
Thursday night. My days are all messed up. What happened?
Listen, Tom Brady's really handsome. He's an incredibly good-looking man. That's what I have to say about that. He's a great passer. Good family.
That's it. So
what do you want me to say? I watched the thing.
Did he spike the ball?
I think that they thought that he tried to throw like a seam route, like that was probably like they needed 6. He threw a 17-yard, kind of like post, and things were happening fast. So even I was confused to what down it was, and I knew that the chains hadn't, they moved, but like
sounds like a lot.
I got nothing to say, man. Tom Brady's handsome. Tom Brady's really good looking. That's what I have to say there. What else you want me to say? Like, he's human. Like, I would still want him on my team every day of the week, twice on Saturday, 4 times on Sunday. That's how many times I want him on my team. I think he thought it was third down.
I think that's pretty clear.
I think being good at football and being senile because you're old are 2 different things. Like, it's possible that he's more senile now because he's 43.
He's down in Florida. He's hanging out with the elderly.
Yeah, he's chilling. Like, being around Gronk too much. Like, I don't know. Maybe forget the downs. Maybe son. Bruce Arians had his back. Bruce Arians said he knew what down it was, so that's enough for me.
That's just a good coaching move, protecting your player.
Tom Brady's handsome, bro.
Last topic.
Tom Brady's handsome.
He lost to the Lakers in the NBA Finals. And
Didn't even know
that's
it
the rundown.
Didn't even know what happened. The only quarter I watched was because Patrick made me stay here the other night and watched it after the Yankees game. Once the Celtics got eliminated, I was done.
It was like 63-46 at the half, or was 64-36. It was a blowout, just dominating performance by the Lakers. They're the best team in the league. They got 2 of the best players in the league, and LeBron and AD.
And Alex Caruso. I mean, what? I thought you meant LeBron and Alex Caruso. You started with A, and I thought you meant Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso's a stud. He had that one game where he was like the guy from White Men Can't Jump. It was phenomenal. Like, he was just dominating everyone. I enjoyed that thoroughly. It's the only thing I enjoyed about the Lakers season.
Well,
and LeBron's special.
They won. Look, LeBron's
good talk.
LeBron's an absolute monster on the court. I'll never be able to say anything about his abilities on the court.
I think he should try football.
For him, did you see him asking for his respect after this? They're giving.
No, I think he should just go try football.
The trophy. And he's like, I want my respect. Like, dude,
he needs to stop talking.
Yeah,
just stop talking. If he stopped talking, it would be way better. It would be way better.
All right, that is the rundown. You got anything else?
Nope. I'm done.
That's a pickle. That's not even.
I got a gimbal.
That is the pickle.
This is a gimbal. Rhymes with pickle. No, it doesn't.
Close enough. All right.
See ya.
That's Pickle. We'll see you next week.